Welcome to Sage Audio. Today, let's look at how to mix vocal reverb. But first, if you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us to receive a free mastered sample of it with the link in the description. Timing reverb to your BPM. Timing your vocals reverb to the BPM of your track is pretty easy. Simply divide 60,000 by the BPM to find one quarter note. Now where it gets interesting is when we understand that this doesn't work perfectly for reverb, since the reverb tail often falls below our threshold of perception. That said, we should increase the length of the reverb slightly so that the reverb is loud enough to hear right at the end of the note, but then is too quiet to hear right after the full note. So let's take a listen to time to reverb with this compensation added.
Tell me how you feel, is it real? I don't wanna overthink. Is it all for show? I don't know, feeling like I'm on the brink.
The importance of pre-delay. When reverberating vocals, pre-delay is a surprisingly important and often overlooked function. It determines when the reverb begins, kind of like the attack of a compressor, meaning we can use it to either preserve our transients at the longer settings or reverberate them at shorter settings. I like to increase mine to about 40 milliseconds when working on vocals. So let's take a listen to the same reverb settings, except with and without pre-delay being used.
Tell me how you feel, is it real? I don't wanna overthink. Is it all for show? I don't know, feeling like I'm on the brink.
If you're enjoying the video, hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It's free and it helps us bring you more videos. Vintage Vocal Reverb Part 1. As you'd imagine, emulating reverb types from the past is incredibly useful for giving the vocal a classic sound. I'll use Baby Audio's Crystalline plugin and select the Vox Medium Plate preset, which increases pre-delay, uses a 1.5 second decay, increases high frequency reflections, and utilizes a lot of modulation. Now, plates are known for having a shimmering high frequency range that works well on vocals, so let's take a listen to this plugin and pay attention to the diffused and amplified high frequencies.
Tell me how you feel, is it real? I don't wanna overthink. Is it all for show? I don't know, feeling like I'm on the brink.
Vintage Vocal Reverb Part 2. If you want to give your vocal character, another great emulation of a classic reverb type is a medium chamber. This gives the vocal a thicker, wider, and denser sound, and a slightly more natural one, considering the effect mimics a small to moderately sized room. Let's take a listen to it and notice how the character of the vocal changes significantly.
Tell me how you feel, is it real? I don't wanna overthink. Is it all for show? I don't know, feeling like I'm on the brink.
Expert Reverb Frequency Control. Although many reverbs offer EQ controls, if you want expert control of your vocal's reverb, try this. Create a parallel track for your vocal, and on it insert your favorite reverb. Then insert a parametric EQ with advanced functionality like mid-side, dynamic bands, and maybe left-right placement as well. Now you have immense control over your vocal reverb's frequency response, stereo image, and even dynamics if you're using a dynamic EQ. Let's take a listen to what an EQ after reverb can do.
Tell me how you feel, is it real? I don't wanna overthink. Is it all for show? I don't know, feeling like I'm on the brink.
Parallel mid-frequency reverb. If you want to blend in your vocal to the instrumentation, let's start with the same setup that we used in last chapter. This time, let's isolate the reflections to only the mid-frequencies and create a slight boost around 2 to 3 kHz right before the low-pass filter. By concentrating the reverb to the mids, we make it harder to perceive, but the vocal still gets blended in with the instrumental's mids. So let's take a listen to it.
Tell me how you feel, is it real? I don't wanna overthink. Is it all for show? I don't know, feeling like I'm on the brink.
Today's video is brought to you by Musia, a chord and melody generator that makes creating music and learning new chords incredibly easy. The auto chord feature lets you quickly create chords within a specific key, then transpose them if you need to. The chords it generates always have a very musical progression, and the plugin even lets you switch the genre. Also, you can drag and drop the MIDI that Musia creates into your DAW, meaning you aren't limited to any particular sound. Right now they're having a 30-day free trial, so check that out using the link in the description. Compressed parallel vocal reverb. So have you ever wanted to make your reverb sound really dense and impressive, but the reverb itself isn't offering any control over it? If so, you can place a compressor after the reverb on a parallel track, compress, and then amplify with makeup gain. By doing so, we bring quieter details forward and make them easier to perceive. In turn, the reverb sounds a lot more powerful and detailed. Let's take a listen.
Tell me how you feel. Is it real? I don't wanna overthink. Is it all for show? I don't know. Feeling like I'm on the brink.
If you're enjoying the channel, use the search box to watch more of our videos. Saturated parallel vocal reverb. If you want to make your reverb sound more musical, use saturation on a parallel reverb track, similar to how we use compression in the last chapter. With it, we can increase low-level detail, but also add harmonics. These harmonics are multiples of the root note, causing more musical and in-tune reverb. I'll use Saturate by Newfangled Audio for this, and keep a softer knee to avoid the higher-ordered harmonics that come with a hard knee setting. Let's take a listen.
Tell me how you feel. Is it real? I don't wanna overthink. Is it all for show? I don't know. Feeling like I'm on the brink.
Reverb that doesn't sound like reverb. Sometimes tracks sound like there isn't even any reverb on the vocals. Odds are though, a super quick reverb is being used to thicken the vocal. To achieve this sound, use a reverb time of about 100 milliseconds, increase your pre-delay, and enable brighter reflections if they're available. Now it's one of those things that you can't notice until you take it off, so let's listen to the vocal with the effect on, and then remove it to better understand how much it adds to the signal.
Tell me how you feel. Is it real? I don't wanna overthink. Is it all for show? I don't know. Feeling like I'm on the brink.
Creative, distorted vocal reverb. If you're looking for a new effect or one that makes a vocal stick out and adds a lot of character, try adding aggressive distortion or saturation after reverb on a parallel send. Now, since room reflections aren't distorted, this creates an entirely unnatural but enjoyable sound. Since the harmonics are so strong as well, this is almost going to make the reverb sound like an instrument, so let's try this out and consider how this effect can be used creatively to augment a mix.
Tell me how you feel. Is it real? I don't wanna overthink. Is it all for show? I don't know. Feeling like I'm on the brink.
If you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us to receive a free mastered sample of it with the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching.